lift off. Good evening and welcome. So it's not my first time I'm working with ultramarine blue, but in a way I'm not lying at all, actually. I really need to refill this one. Ultramarine blue, the pigment. But who said a watercolorist? I was talking about making ultramarine blue as a paint. I make pigments now too. So that's what I meant actually. Let's talk about that later. Let's first build towards that, kind of quietly start the stream, and then let's make this about PB29 in all its aspects. I'll be making some. Obviously, it's one of my favorite pigments. So yes, Decal 20. It is a beautiful, beautiful pigment. I have a few kilograms of it in my studio. This is my kind of go-to bottle with the version I use for my paints mostly. As you can see, not a few kilograms. But I need to refill this. But I kind of put too much stuff in front of the cupboard where my stock is of this version. So I need to do that tomorrow. But I have enough to this is more than enough. That filled, welcome everyone who I didn't mention or forgot. Welcome if you're here or here for the first time. Say hi in the chat. Always good to see new people or people who want to join. Yeah, a lot. Jam and jelly jars are amazing for pigments, as you can see. So I did a few things this week. Last week Thursday, and that's why I had to go a little bit earlier last week, Wednesday. I went to Haarlem to the Tyler's Museum. There was an exhibit from Michelangelo. But I went there with another pigment maker researcher from the US, originally from Spain. And I exchanged some pigments, and we had a fun day at the museum and talking about pigments in real life with a real life person, which was for both of us was kind of a revelation. What we've talked about before, just talking in a language that everyone that you understand, that the other person understands. Which is quite unique in this niche, especially in the making pigment part as well. Mel, welcome. Wait, no, it's not Mel, is it? Were you? Find it? I'm not quite sure anymore. This all the usernames again. I don't know what YouTube did. Ian, I saw your message was stopped, but I have unstopped it. It is a bit I have put that natural pigment book on order. That is good to hear. Unfortunately, that's annoying. The message, I don't know why that got stopped, Ian. But also, well, you're from the UK, you can pre-order it on our website. She still had a few signed copies last Saturday, so you might be able to get it. You're not anywhere near London, are you? If you are, she'll have the kind of book release party next week, Friday, 31st. But you can still order it. I think she still has some pre-orders on her website. Teddy, welcome. Speaking of pre-orders, and I want you to know I am not affiliated with them because I still need to make my affiliate links. But I've been talking with Evie Hatch from Jackson's Art. Wow, wrong one. Jackson's Art lately, and a few times. She wrote this book, edited it as well. And it is on pre-order from Jackson's Art. Pigment Stories. I think it's quite similar to the ones you might know from YouTube or Instagram from Jackson's Art. Same girl, same person who's behind that you see in the videos. So I'm definitely going to pre-order this one as well. Maybe next week. Money wise, this month isn't ideal. Yeah. So, empty slab. Okay. It's you're taking a drink when it's literally for the past weeks. I think this is my only drink I've had during the week. So speaking of that book, the recipe for synthetic ultramarine. I'm going to make this tonight here. Not all my stuff looks like this. I'm kind of worried. What is blue? Why is something blue here? Kaolin, sodium carbonate, that's white, that's white. Sulfur, that's yellowish. Charcoal, that's black. Rosin, that's not it. That's yellow whitish. Why is there something blue here in the image? Now I'm confused. Well, I'm going to follow the steps anyway. I've done a little bit of preparation, taking everything, it's on the floor next to me. But also, this is in parts, and I translated that into weights. So I have about 20 grams of pigment, just to try, as a first try that I can fire after the live stream. So I have the first calcination tomorrow morning, tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening I'll have the second calcination finished. So I might be able to show you tomorrow evening. I might be able to show you the ultramarine blue that I'm going to start here tonight. Hopefully, if it works. First time I'm making that. Let me have a look at watercolorists. I'm going to... Oh my god! I'm okay, refreshed it. I know I should have ordered earlier. I didn't make the pre-order yet. That's £6. But I couldn't. What the? Okay, that is captured on live stream. Jackson's. Probably more popular than they thought it would be. No offense to anyone here, by the way. I can imagine it is, but what the? Why? What? Okay. The book that I have on the table is the Natural Pigment Handbook from Lucy Mays. You might know her from the account London Pigments, or the company London Pigments. I'm going to log in. I am logged in, am I not? This is ridiculous. No, I wasn't logged in, and I wasn't logged. It was literally just refreshing it. No, doesn't make a difference. 41.75. Was that 41.75 before as well, or was it even less? I don't know. It was less, 41.40. It's rising in price, guys. Seriously, it's... Okay, we'll keep an eye on that during the live stream. Because that is ridiculous. It just, you know... That's weird. Well, yeah, you don't have to like pour a full glass of you know, 70% alcohol. You can take half of it as well. Dilute it with a little bit of water, so your tongue is actually able to taste something. Let's first, you know, just do a small spoon. I know I've been doing small spoons lately only, but just, you know, start with the small spoon of ultramarine blue, just to check if everyone is still familiar with the color. It's been a while since I made it here. Also, if you're wondering what's behind my camera over there, which you don't see, this is another 3D print of a 3D scan of an antique Muller. Just noticed you actually couldn't see it. I'm just, you know, having a look which copies kind of, you know, smoothened out a bit would work best as an actual Muller for a specific reason. So yeah, I'm going to refresh again, Ian. Still 41.75. Let's first go to the ultramarine blue. As a dry pigment, one of the most vibrant, I think the most vibrant blue we have. And that comment doesn't get blocked, but Ian's did. I think you are confusing a Muller with a skull as a cup. You know, like in the movies, or in those days where they did that. But bone is way too soft for a Muller. I literally looked up the book, or I looked it up before, but that was on my phone. I opened the screen like 45 minutes ago just to kind of prepare for everything for the live stream. So yeah, it's I think, you know, adding £6, it's a quite steep. Yeah, I don't know. Still might be worth it, but right now it's going to be over €50 for me to order a book with stories that I, you know, I think I know most of the information already. Probably way better put than how I can explain it, but yeah. I think with shipping as well, I can easily buy I think you can buy close to 10 kilograms of ultramarine blue pigment for that price. Not that I need that, but just to put it in a niche perspective. So right now, yeah, I'm just making the paint, so we all know what I'm talking about. Wait, what? How is it for? I can't. I don't like this. I'm going to look it up. I have my tablet here. I'm going to look it up here. Let's have a look. Jackson. And then we go to was it Studio with the books? Art, books and DVDs. Yes. Pigment Stories 4140. So still on my laptop it's 35 cents. Pence. More expensive. Yeah, I don't get this. I think £20, especially, you know, since shipping is, last time shipping was very expensive. I had to pay import taxes as well from the UK because of Brexit. So hopefully, I think I actually need to wait for this to be. Let me have a look if there's anywhere else I can get it. Well, it's just, you know, it's been kind of announced today, so. Yeah, but it's weird. Watercolors. It's weird that you saw it on you saw it here. All right, not logged in. 35-ish pounds, not logged in, but refreshed. 4140, logged in 4175. I mean that's kind of weird. Maybe I still have a tab open on my phone for the Pigment Stories. Ah, it's just refreshed because I opened it. Also 4140, by the way. Viewing basket. I'll have a look what it does on my account. let's put this on quiet mode. Do I still have a piece of paper lying around here? I've cleaned up. I know I should never clean up. I'm only losing stuff when I clean up. In case that was this so. Oh, that was because. Oh, never mind. In case people need to be reminded that ultramarine blue gets as bright on paper, again, as a paint as it is as a pigment, almost as bright. Well, I actually wanted to go to the UK to visit Lucy's book release, the 31st. Everything got so expensive. I mean, the flight is okay, but it only starts, at the end of the day. So, well, I would probably be staying late. So I need to book something for a night. Then things get expensive. Also, 31st, I'm going on a tour in the new Royal Talents factory. I've been in a tour in the Royal factory. It's just, I just want to see what. I just want to see the new spot, basically. Just curiosity. It's still one of my favorite pigments. Absolutely gorgeous color. I don't think that works with a Dutch nationality or passport, Ian. I mean, for someone from the UK who is joining us every week, a loyal subscriber, I might add, why would you let the UK government welcome me instead of doing that yourself, Ian? Just wondering here, right? It's thank you. There's no pictures allowed in the factory, unfortunately. Not that I want to steal company secrets or anything. If there are any, I mean, I've been in the last to the last tour a while back, and I can't remember seeing anything that I thought, oh wow, this might be a secret. So yeah. And if it was, I'd respect that, and I wouldn't do anything with it, to be honest. Just don't bring a passport. Thank you, Ian. That's really helpful. No, I'd pass that. I'll take my rubber boat and sleep in that. Ultramarine blue. Never mind. Maybe I'm just, you know, gonna skip the trip. Unfortunately, because I really want to visit London again. If only for the locations where I come by pigments and meet up with people to talk about pigments. Yeah, they do have a. It's called the Experience Center. It's a you know, the marketing social media thing, where they host workshops, but they have all the products that Royal Talents sells or distributes. So I think there's a lot of golden as well, and Sakura is one of their. I think Sakura is actually the parent company, or at least part of the same parent company. They literally have all the products, so that is really amazing. But I don't think for the last few years I haven't bought any paint. You do get a goodie bag. At least you did get a goodie bag. Last time I went there, I got a goodie bag, and there's like it's 1 or 2 paints in it. But I don't think I'm going to buy paint, because I make paint, and yeah, I don't paint anymore, so I don't know what to use it for, unless they have something like I really want to see and test against something that I have, you know, what I do. Royal Talents isn't Da Vinci. No, it's Rembrandt, Van Gogh, or Van Gogh. Amsterdam acrylics. Bruinzeel they have as well as pencils. What else is there? It's Cobra, a water mixable oil paint. I think that's it. Or at least, you know, that's the major ones that I can think of. And Ryder, welcome. Ooh. Okay, let me get the. I did some calculations before I went live. We need kaolin, but kaolin or china clay needs to be heated first at 700 degrees for, I'm talking Celsius, by the way, for people from the US. Sylvie's welcome. Well, if you're sick, you can stay as well. Stay, listen, talk a bit. I'm going to make ultramarine blue as a pigment, not just as a paint as I just done, but as a pigment. So, you know, stick around. Anyway, kaolin needs to be heated at 700 degrees first for an hour and let it cool. I do not have the patience for that, because, you know, it needs to be turned into metakaolin. Let me just have a bag full of metakaolin here. That was pure coincidence. Don't ask me why. Sodium carbonate, I do have that over here. Here it's called differently. Sodium is called natrium. Then we need charcoal, which I have as a pigment, vine black. Rosin, check. And acetic acid or white vinegar, I have that but don't need it yet. The surfactant, no, don't need. Yes, the respirator, gloves, crucible. Check. Mel, welcome. Kiln shell. Oh, I have that in my kiln. Pestle and mortar. We do need something to weigh it down with. Check, 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 check. Okay, so first mix that with 3/4 of the sulfur first. I haven't calculated that yet, but I can do that over here as well. That will be divided by 4. 3. Okay. Let's get started. Let's first finish the drink. That was quick. Goal: making this with whatever will be put in this. And a mask. Okay, let's get started. First, we are going to need 6 grams. Close enough. Oh yes, obviously. I am your father. Obviously, we need sulfur as well. Sulfur. Ah, phone. Okay. Sodium carbonate, 6 grams as well. Vader is how you spell father in Dutch, but Darth is not a word. In Dutch it's donker, dark.
or duister. In German it will be dunkel, I think. So I don't know where Darth comes from. I feel more like Bane from Batman with this mask, to be honest. Oh, so close! Oh, no, that was it. Okay, that's exactly the same amount as this, so as the Metacal then. Okay, doing that. Did I say something weird, Sylvie? No, hey, what do you call this? I've read that before as well. You know, the fact that he was the father was way more obvious in Dutch because it's literally spelled father in our language. Father. But you know, that sounds Darth Vader. It sounds better than Anakin Skywalker, but. Completely distracted now. I don't know why I was looking for my lightsaber. I know why we're talking about Darth Vader. It's very obvious why I was looking for my lightsaber. But... Fledermaus! Vleermuis. Not very different. No scissors needed for that. Right, sulfur. What a lovely yellow this is. Looks like dried custard. Let's try it. Lederlappen? No. That sounds fun though. Yeah, exactly. It's like leather flaps. Like the wings. I mean, it makes sense. Kind of. This is pure sulfur. This is why I'm wearing the mask, by the way. For anyone, if you're wondering. $3.6 we need of that. And for the second calcination, I need 1.2 added to it. That's it. Oh, I don't like that. It was a cloud of sulfur. Now, I don't like this song. It keeps coming back. Alright. Then 0.7 of charcoal. Let me check. No, but you know, again, I feel more like Bane in this with this mask. I don't know if anyone's seen Batman with Bane. I hope you have, but one can only hope. Yeah, Kramer sells a lot of chemicals to make pigments. Trust me. You think darkness is your ally. You merely adopted the dark. Let me have a look. Then rosin. Oh, I'll show that later. Rosin. Let me have a look. Let me get rid of everything that I've used. Will particle size of the ingredients change the... That's a good question. Let me put that over here if that still works. Yes, it works. What is the blackish brownish powder? That is charcoal. Will the particle size of the ingredients change the PB29 particle size, or is there something else manufacturers do to make it less more granulating versions? This is all very fine powder. It is neat. Let me wait. I'll explain that when I put my mask off. Okay. Remind me of it, by the way, please. Oh, come on. So, the rosin, as well as the charcoal, both have the function to reduce the oxygen level. Because ultramarine blue needs to be twice calcinated. The first time in full kind of reduction, so no oxygen or very little oxygen. The second time, after you grind it up again, without a lid, with oxygen. Especially I need to get rid of the lumps right now. So anything in here, this gray mass that you see here, will hopefully become this. Which is completely mind-blowing if you ask me. But I've also had the same with cobalt blue, violet and manganese green. So I trust this. Everything that is gray and you fire it up very highly for a long time, I believe can turn into a color. But it is... It's quite stunning still. That, you know, that is possible. Let me quickly get something. Can I do this? Yes, I can do this. Okay.
Just going to take a normal breath. I see my particle levels in the air are still the same. I have a sensor here and there's a sensor there. So, and they all say the same. So there's no particles floating around here, which is cool to know. I've tightened the mask a little bit last week. I should untighten it because it's very annoying. About particle size, yes and no. So when it comes to making pigments yourself, the finer you grind them up, the less heavy the granulation can be. But there is a limit. I know I can never hand grind anything as finely as this. This is mechanically done. This is industrial grade ultramarine blue pigment. This is highly granulating. So mine should be more granulating if it ever becomes a blue, by the way. I mean, the reduction and oxidation is always challenging. I know kind of with the system I build around my kiln, I have some control. I have control over it, but with pigments that I come to know, the temperature is good. I mean, the temperature, I've nailed the temperature. That's no issue. Maybe you get green. Thanks, Gulchen. And maybe I finally get a real green. Well, the reason I said, financially this month, especially when the price is rising, keeps on rising. That book, I mean, as lovely as it is, I will get it, but maybe not right now. I know where you're from, hey, what color is. That secret goes, it stays with me. Taking it to the grave, don't worry. Because I found out. It's a secret. I don't know. I know where I left. It's just so many chat. I can't touch my face with this, by the way. It's still sulfur. What was I saying? Daco, thanks for joining. Weekly Wednesdays, if you'd like to join, please do. I don't know what I was saying. Gulchen, help me. You you know these things. I don't know why I fully trust like anything in my mind that loses track. You are my guidance back. That rhymes. Sorry for that. Didn't mean to be poetic. Well, a watercolorist, I mean, I can hire you just for a while. Theoretically, not financially, but theoretically. Oh yeah, that was it. Finance. So I'm not comfortably able to buy the book. Because, business-wise, this month was kind of like, okay, shouldn't buy anything anymore right now. Last kind of last week of the month. But then last week, I showed you this book, and I read a bit of it, and then I found out I didn't have sodium carbonate. I never needed it. I didn't have sulfur. I do have metakaolin, so that was a coincidence. But then, that's those two things, not very expensive, they're quite affordable. Done, a watercolorist. If you want done, right, seriously, I'll meet you next week Friday. I'll get you a ticket. I don't know if it still is. There still are tickets, but let's have a look. Let's just have a look, you know, to. Oh, it's almost sold out. Almost sold out. 16 euros, 17 euros, 16.95. If you come to the Netherlands, I'll pay this ticket for you. I don't think really that's in balance. So if anyone from the Netherlands wants to meet up next week, Friday, the 31st, it's from 10 to 12 in Apeldoorn. Gulchen? I don't know if this is something that you like. But yeah, not sold out yet. So still a ticket or tickets available. I am helping other businesses a lot today. Anyway, I used my money that I actually didn't want to spend to buy chemicals and a little bit more than what I needed for ultramarine blue, because the shipping is quite steep lately with these products. So I ordered a little bit extra to make your Zorderboekt. Sounds sort of fake. I want to say fake. No, I don't mean fake. I believe you, but vague, which is in your absolute right. I don't need to know details. But anyone else, if you're in the neighborhood, and if you would like to join up. I ordered more materials. That was what I was saying. And then, I do that in a very different, weird kind of way than I do pigments. Pigments is just really, I'm browsing the website till I find things that I don't have. Then I think, is it worth it? Is it worth the price? Is it worth the price they're asking for? Lately, I'm looking into, can I make this myself? But I found some things that that I had written down, which are kind of in the extension of the ultramarine blue family, because of something I found out a long time ago, and I wanted to make a video about it, but life is crazy and video making isn't something I have a lot of time for, at least in my head. I want to show you something, and this is, I think, I want to say this is the most ADD stream I've done in a while, but that's not true. I'm terribly chaotic. This is a very impure piece of lapis. A lot of pyrite in it. Sodalite, but also like lazurite. There's a deep blue part there. This is a UV light. These specks that you see over here, the orange specks, oh wow, the underneath is way more. Orange specks that you see over here, that is something else. That is a mineral known as Hakmanite. Hakmanite. Right, you can clearly see it's not being visible there, and now it is. And now it is, and now it is, now it is, now it is. So, looking into, I'm not interested in making soda light like as a thing. Thank you, Ryder. So I was looking into Hakmanite, and I can actually synthesize Hakmanite in my kiln, which is something I never thought of. Sounds like it, Ryder, yeah. Until I looked into it, and then it is actually quite similar to Hakmanite, like hacking. HACKMI. This I shouldn't do that. This HACKMANITE. TE. Yeah, that's it. That's it. And I written down the things I found in documentation of synthesizing it. Kaolin, check. Needs to be heated first. Methyl check. Same thing. Sodium carbonate, same thing. Sulfur, same thing. Charcoal, same thing. We need a little bit of silica. Okay, that's an addition. And sodium chloride. So the only thing not used here is rosin. 2 additions. Sodium chloride, didn't have that. And silica, I do have that. Because I need that for more pigments in my kiln. So Heckmanite, that's it, Sylvie, thank you very much. Lights up under UV. A kind of a pale, bluish grey, greyish, bluish white powder, when you powder it. So sodium chloride, yeah, that's just very, you know, like kitchen salt without the I want to say iodium. I don't know if that's the iodine. Is that the same thing? I don't know. Yeah. So you need that, and you need to heat that for quite a long time, a little bit hotter than this for quite a long time. But it is a solidite family version as well. So is this. Yeah, sodium chloride here as well, natrium chloride. That's Dutch. Which, you know, makes sense because it's NaCl. The chemical formula for it is NaCl. You know, which we are right. I mean, there's no sodium in this Na, it's natrium. Anyway. So I bought the chemicals I need for that as well.
Which I didn't have. At least the... Oh wait, no, I did have it. I do have it. No, I'm putting a sodium carbonate, natrium carbonate. I'm putting that in here. I want to say something else than I am your father when I put this on. What else does he say? I find your lack of your faith disturbing. And then he chokes someone, doesn't he? I think he does. This is a fully chemically cleaned crucible, but it's just badly stained. This is a mildly chemically cleaned crucible, and I'm just going to see if this infects. This is cobalt blue that I made in this. If I can make a little bit of, I'm just going to put a little bit of this in that. If that makes the same pigment as I can make in here. So I can have, the larger and the smaller crucibles for blues and yellows and greens and reds. That I have I don't want to make yellow in this, for instance. That just doesn't feel right as a paint maker. And oh yeah, that's also what I also ordered some new chemicals to get rid of this. At least I hope I did. I can. It's quite a large pen for paint. I mean, a half pen is this. So this is a lot of paint. But feel free to do what you do. Also, this isn't. I know this is just going to be very nerdy, but this is alumina, so this is way more expensive than porcelain. So I think I don't see any other colored lumps. I didn't feel anything. Looks good. Well, I don't want to inhale the 100% pure sulfur all days. I'm also not going to turn on my kiln right now. I'm going to fire it during the night. So if there's any sulfuric gases escaping, I'm not the one sitting in the middle of it. So an inside secret about my studio here: every morning at 5:30, all my air filtrations go on full power. I have a robot vacuum, but like a super cheap one, but one that's, not a smart one at a time, with an infrared timer remote that came with it. Every day at that same time, when my ventilation, the air filtration, everything that can blow air, filter air, and suck air on the floor, everything is on at the same time. So every morning I start with a cleaned studio. Sorry for that. So if I fire pigments, and I can set it by timer right now, I can say, okay, I wanna let this start at 1, is to fire for 4 hours. When it's cooling down, I'm going to completely air filtrate my entire studio. Sorry for this noise, by the way. Okay. Let me get. These are ready for tonight. Ryder, yes, you are right.
But I got a little bit. I needed to. I'm going to untighten it a little bit because that was annoying. Yes and no. Very, very good comments. I'm going to add that to the screen. Yes. Usually, with pigment making, the finer you make it, the more homogeneous you mix the chemicals, the more of a even color and reaction takes place in the kiln. So you are absolutely right about that. But there is one large but in this issue. Not the one you think about right now. I read somewhere, I need to check it if I read it here, that I can't use metal tools with this. So this, I just use this to scrape it, so there's no friction. Or scrape it, not scrape it. I didn't use this to scrape it. I just, you just did. I don't really have something non-metal for that, by the way. But there's no like metal friction, and in a very fine mesh, I only have metal versions of that. This has an inert spatula, either plastic, stainless steel or glass. Well, this is all stainless steel that I have, but I'm not quite sure about the mesh. It doesn't say here that I need to avoid it, but I read it somewhere because I needed to be sure that the conversion from parts, this book is in, at least this recipe is in parts, would be the same in weights, in weight. So I did check that first. And then I read something like that. So, yeah. I don't really smell the sulfur in my studio, and the particle non-existent, no, not non-existent, but it didn't rise either, so that's good. I mean, there's one air filtrator like here, just there, which constantly kind of sucks air towards it. So I'm kind of everything on this side of the camera, that side of the camera, this side of the camera is kind of safe. Old days, you tried to make PV19. Isn't that one of the hardest things to do? PV49 would be harder, but oh, sorry. Yeah, titanium is also very, very expensive. I mean, a titanium mesh sieve or a that would be terribly expensive, I think. Feel free to donate. It is a good one, but a titanium coffee drip thing with mesh. is everything made of titanium? The filter is made of 100 mesh pure titanium wire. Wow! And it's not that expensive. But 100 mesh is very, very, very fine. Shopping cart. For anyone who feels generous, that's $21.99 on Amazon. Oh god! And I'm not going to buy it now. I'm going to save it though. This is good. Wait, why is it when I click it again? Wait, this is weird. I can make the ultramarine red that is discontinued if this works. So, but it is very, very, very sensitive to oxidation, and yeah, I'm not going to buy it because of that. I'm first going to look into it, but it's very sensitive to the oxidation levels, the amount of sulfur. And I've never made any pigment like this, so I really need to. Well, I know this is going to work tomorrow, right? So what this book says of Lucy, place the mixture into a crucible with a loose fitting lid. That's loose fitting, and place it in the center of the kiln. I know this is a glass bowl. This is not a kiln. I'll do that later. Bring the kiln temperature in a low oxygen environment to 750 degrees Celsius for 4 hours. Let the mixture cool and tap out the raw pigment cake onto a clean surface. Inspect and collect the brightest blue parts into a dish for further processing. Dispose of the grey or discolored parts. Grind the selected sample using a pestle and mortar with the additional parts of sulfur. Place into a crucible without a lid and calcine with oxygen for 2 hours at 500 degrees. Let cool slowly by lowering the temperature incrementally by 50 degrees each hour until at room temperature. It takes about 10 hours. Not quite sure if I'm going to make it before tomorrow night. This isn't released yet. It will be released the 4th of November, but I did pre-order it from Lucy Mays herself, and she is known, and she signed it as London Pigments. So she is the sole person behind the company. Purifying the pigment. Grind the sample using the pestle and mortar. Once more, rinse with distilled water to remove. Okay, but it's not finished yet. So there's another page to it. I'm not quite sure if I'm going to make it tomorrow. Otherwise, I will be live on Friday somewhere, I think, showing you the result. Also not quite sure if I'm going to what? Ryder, leave the drinks. I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, I'm not quite sure if I'm going to do tonight. It didn't say anything about lowering the temperature 50 degrees an hour for the first carnation. I can also do that, but I need to program it, and it takes time. And right now I'm feeling lazy, but still not too late. I'm just going to follow it word for word. Just not gonna think myself. I think that's the safest, by the way. And she asked for feedback as well. If we ran into anything, I think, you know, I'm just going to. I've done everything as she said in a just a smaller proportion. It's about a fifth of the amount that she makes. Oh, sorry guys. That's about a fifth of the amount that she makes. What I'm making right now. And I can easily place 5 of these large ones like next to each other or behind each other in the kiln. Oh yeah, yes, thank you, Ian. Thank you. But she said, you know, that we need to cool down the temperature of the second calcination 50 degrees per hour. She didn't say that for the first calcination, so I'm not going to do that. If that is needed, though, you know, that is feedback. All days, let me quickly look up something on PV19 for you, because I have read that somewhere on organic pigments. Let me look that up for you. Oh. No, that was too difficult for me. I left that. PV19 is something that is chemically so much more difficult than what I'm doing. Good night, Sylvie. Thank you so much for joining. And hopefully you feel better, well, tomorrow morning, ideally, but hopefully you feel better very soon. PV19 is a precipitation pigment with chemicals that I also didn't feel comfortable with. A reason, like, I didn't order sulfur before. Because of any sulfuric gases. Well, my ventilation system has proven itself. So I still feel kind of anxious, but I trust my setup, and luckily sulfur is quite easy to smell, quite noticeable. Also, a reason I'm not using, or I didn't even buy cadmium oxide or lead oxides. The gases that come from that are just way too dangerous for my setup, for my like small space I'm working in. Although I do have air filtration, I do have, it's all based on paint making. Apart from the kiln setup, and that is just, you know, those gases are just too dangerous for me to don't have a professional setup for, like, to trust that. Same with some chemicals in the precipitational method. Ryder, thanks for joining. I'll be leaving, I think, in about 10-ish minutes, maybe a little bit longer. I'm not quite sure yet. I'm not staying for too long. So the precipitational pigments, some like coppers and things, so some form gases that I don't feel comfortable with. or like very, very, very aggressive acids that need to be added to it. Please, all days, be careful with PV90. Right? If you really are in doubt, DIY pigments on Reddit, a lot of lovely, helpful people. Otherwise, ask any chatbot to an AI, you can even use Google for it, to see if it's safe what you're doing, because safety is very important. But preferably ask people who know what they're talking about. I don't in that case, because I've never made it. Yeah. That's it. Was there anything else for today? I feel like there was. Oh yes, I did find. Well, that's not what I want to share. I did find 2 ways. I'm sorry to hear that, Ian. I think you've shared that before, but I'm sorry to hear that. That still has influence on your life today. Sorry, I was saying. I found 2 ways to make Hackmanites. One in a very similar way of this, and one in a way that needs a little bit less heat but way longer, which was weird, where 3 or 4 chemicals are replaced by 1. So that only has 3 ingredients. Kind of one of the ingredients, or kind of a ready-made version of it. And I got that. It's used in the agriculture a lot, apparently. So I kind of, got 2 kilograms of the powder for free. Chemically, it's just the same thing as the thing that's used in labs. In labs, they use pellets. In the agriculture, they use powder. And for pigment, I need the powdered version. So that's ideal. But there needs to be 24 hours in the kiln. And I've never done that before. So I'm not quite sure if I'm going to do that. I'm going to try it once at least. But so anyway, just to kind of round it off. It's actually mirrored. Should go from that to that side. But let's just do it like this. This should, tomorrow, from what I read in the book, have pieces of bright blue that I need to grind down, add sulfur to it, calcinate again, and I should be left with something like this. So Lucy said that this is a, I noticed it as well, looking at the recipe. This is just a very trusted kind of old-fashioned recipe for ultramarine blue. You have modern versions, like more modern versions, well, without the rosin, with a little less sulfur, with tweaks and changes to it. Not quite sure if that changes the redness or greenness, the coolness or warmth of the blue pigment. I don't have experience with this yet. I haven't read into it a lot, apart from getting this amount kind of from the book to this amount, and apart from reading the book. So I really hope this is going to work. Actually, basically, that's it. I think I'm going to put it in the kiln. Meaning if I do this, if I put this in the kiln, I'll also be leaving my studio. So I would like to thank everyone. It's like an hour and a half. Lady Miss GD. Sorry. I just wanted to leave, but hi. Wait, why, Ian, do you grind aluminium? Why? I am wondering. Every 6 hours. That sounds like anxious nights you have when you grind up aluminium. Sorry, we're in. I'm so used to aluminum because of YouTube and sorts. But obviously it's aluminium. We're on this side of the ocean. To make flash powder. Follow-up question. Why do you make flash powder? Just wondering. There's modern flashes on cameras nowadays that you can reuse, that don't explode. Why? For what end? When do you use it? So you're actively doing it. Again, Ian, you're a photographer. I shouldn't explain to you that there's modern flashes right now that can, you know, but you're not that kind of photographer, apparently. How many photographers, one, still use flash powder, two, make their own flash powder, three, are you the only one? It sounds really cool. But yeah, it's like, okay, just, you can probably just, you know, come back at me with, you can just buy a kilogram of ultramarines for 10 quid. Yeah, I can do that. Why make it? I don't know. Because I can, and you can as well. Never mind. It's we do things because we can. Yeah, I think we are just both kind of nerdy in our own niche thing with this. If I may call it, I mean, no offense, I think it's a good thing. Oh, I bet it is more showy. I really have no doubt it's more showy. There's so many questions though that they're stuck in my head. It is very cool, but yes, okay. I'm not that old. I've seen the cameras, but not in use, in practical use. Mostly for show. That's it. Guys, I'm going to leave. I'm going to program my kiln, which is weird to say about a kiln that's from the 70s. I'm going to do it anyway. Made a smart kiln. And still that titanium mesh is open there. It does look nice. Guys, thank you so much for joining. Hopefully tomorrow morning I have blue pieces in this. I'll share it with you if I have. I'll recalcinate it and I'll share it tomorrow evening. My own homemade ultramarine blue pigment, which sounds weird. I almost can't believe it. I hope it works. After that, let's just skip yellow, red, and even green. Let's make ultramarine yellow. I also said yellow, purple, green, and red or pink. I'm going to make ultramarine yellow. After that, if you didn't know about its existence, wow, I really need to go. I'll tell I'll tell more about it tomorrow. My words are already quit. I'm just going to quit. Thank you so much, guys, and hope to see you tomorrow.